Hey everyone, Doc W here. Once again, we got another graffiti piece. Last year, I did something with the word crown, and I've been looking at it for the last year, and I've been really disappointed. I'm still really bad, but I was even worse last year, which is probably hard to imagine. But anyway, so I wanted to redo it. And this is a great time to kind of talk about at least some of the basics of what makes good graffiti. This is coming from someone who's not great at graffiti, but we'll make it happen. Anyway, once you figure out the word that you want to do or the phrase or what have you, then you want to start breaking down into components and figuring out what you can make flow together. So, for instance, the C and the R are my go-to examples here. They both kind of swoop downward on this piece and kind of parallel to each other. Next time I do this, so I do another draft basically, because this is just the first draft. The next draft, the C and the R are going to be much more parallel. The C is going to be way, way longer, and so it's gonna look a lot, better. It's gonna look more unified. And then the W, the N are also stacked up on top of each other because they're similar looking letters, right? They're tall, angular letters, and so it's really easy to stack them up and kind of create some of that confusion. It's always kind of hard to figure out if you want your graffiti to be, a little more readable, and it's more of a stylized word, or kind of some of the more dense graffiti where you kind of get the idea of letters as opposed to actual letters. I'm working on making mine more hectic, making mine more dense, but for now I kind of like the more readable style. That's just me personally, obviously. Do whatever you want, right? But anyway, we got two forms of parallel kind of or similar stylings between two letters, right? The C and the R and the W, the N. And that just leaves the O. And crown's a great word, and it's part of the reason I chose it. Is because I took the O in this case and I put kind of little, I don't know, accent marks all around it, or at least up at the top, and to make it look like a crown. When I finish this, they're going to be much more spaced out, a little more splayed, just so that way it looks a little nicer, a little cleaner. Again, this is just the first draft, but it's already a huge improvement over the last piece, which was really flat and boring. And that's the big thing, is you want your graffiti to always be busy. Even if it's readable, it should still be busy. You should still have stuff going on around it. And so you'll see at the bottom, I probably should have a better camera angle, but you'll see at the bottom we have those kind of black lines that aren't part of anything. And that's just a start for me trying to get better at making this piece more intricate and more busy. Just little accent marks, arrows, stuff like that. And, that's part of the reason you see so many arrows and stuff inside of graffiti, is because you're just trying to make the piece busier. You're trying to add more life and detail. Good art, not just graffiti, good art has a lot of intricacy to it, a lot of detail. And sometimes you just have to make it up. And graffiti is a great example of that. Just in general, not just this piece. This piece is it's decent for detail. It's definitely better than some of my other pieces, but it's all right. Anyway, then you got to worry about color choices, and I usually prefer kind of unified color schemes, at least for the words. And so we have two forms of yellow because crown itself is usually, a crown is generally gold or whatever, and so therefore we have yellow crown. And I did an edge fade, so it's a lighter yellow along all of the edges, and it fades into a darker in the middle instead of kind of doing a top to bottom fade or what have you. Obviously, that's always, always, always up to you. But I like how it makes the black pop a little bit, so it makes I always call it shading, all the outlining pop a bit more. One thing that I always catch myself doing is not making my black lines thick enough. And so if you think that you've made your outlines thick enough, maybe add just a little bit more and see how it looks. For other colors, so I decided to do an alternating color scheme on the bottom. I chose red and gray. I was just kind of feeling it. That's the thing with art, right? There's no hard and fast rules. I just really like how red and gray looks. Yeah, for me, it always feels a little industrial, but also kind of carnival-y or playful. That's just my problem or whatever. And then I decided to try and do purple in the background because, again, crown royalty, so you're getting all these themes that kind of stack on top of each other. I really wanted to do a black to purple fade in the corner, but for some reason I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make it happen, which is just a little disappointing on my part. But the big thing to take away is less the colors I'm putting by, it's the fact that I'm trying to put color everywhere, right? I'm trying to fill the whole piece, which is a really big deal for, again, artwork in general, not just graffiti. But usually a lot of graffiti artists will put a background and then they'll start spray painting on top of that. It also helps the paint stick as a practical thing. If you do, it's almost like priming. So you do a big color in on the wall, and then you start putting your letters on top of that. But this is the final piece. Compared to what I did last time, I'm very happy with it. But I definitely has some improvement. Definitely needs more intricacy and definitely needs a little more detail. The C and the R should be more parallel with one another, for sure. But anyway, that's it. Thanks a ton, guys, for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. Otherwise, subscribe for more and take care.